Good morning, Jack.
Hey, what's going on, Ryan?
I'm good, my man. I want to thank everybody for coming back for another awesome episode of the Cannabis Connoisseur podcast with yours truly, Ryan Chavez, and my man over here, Jack Stone.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode. We have a very informative episode for you today.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about a topic that is going around a lot: social anxiety.
Yeah, that is going around a lot, and it's a very important topic for a lot of different reasons. So today we're going to be going over something that we've talked kind of about in the past. We've talked about anxieties in the past, for sure, on this show. But specifically, and I know there was a lot of interest there in the past when we did that, and specifically, I would say social anxiety, I think, in my opinion, can be an even bigger topic to kind of hone in on. So, why do we talk about this, right? Jack, what do you think about social anxieties? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's not fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think anyone has ever characterized it as that. That's actually correct.
If you think about it, there's all different ways that we're looking at anxiety. And we live in New York, and there's so much anxiety, especially for people that come from smaller towns. I know a lot of people that live in New York are from smaller places.
Yeah,
typically a lot of transplants.
Yeah, you're right.
You and I are from a small town. From Rochester, it's super small, but compared to New York City, so it's just you go from there to a big crazy place like this where you're stuck in trains and they're loaded with people, and it's you got someone's arm up above your head, or you got you got someone's right it's tight quarters. A train stops, you got to get to work, and it's this train stops, and it's it's packed, and there's no room, and nobody wants you on that train, and you're just and you got to get on that train to get to work, or you're gonna be late and get in trouble, and then you just feel it. You feel that social anxiety, it's nuts.
I mean, yeah. So that's definitely I've experienced that. This social anxiety of being around a group of people that are just waking up and angry.
Yes, exactly.
And all trying to get to a productive place all at the same time. And I would say I think where social anxiety really becomes debilitating though for a lot of people is the more, I guess, intimate scenarios, or not even intimate, but they're I guess intimate in a way, in the sense that you're around a group of people on a train, that's one anxiety, right? Just trying to get from one place to the other. But when you're around a group of people and, for example, you get singled out, or you have to make a speech, or let's just say all of a sudden, I don't know, you cough really loud and everybody looks at you, right? Those types of anxieties are things that people get. And they often, I think, start very small, and then they just become huge, and then this becomes the snowball effect where you just get triggered for just about everything. Yeah. Right? And so that becomes debilitating, because if you're getting triggered for every time, you're center of attention, or you get pointed out for something, or you're interacting with somebody and you think you say something stupid. I mean, if you're getting affected by that every single time, it's just going to affect the way you function every day on a day-to-day basis. So it's important to talk about this and to make sure that we go over solutions for it, because if you just have more people with less social anxiety, you'll have a more productive society at the end of the day, right? So we don't want to make sure that we definitely, take a look at that. It's a preventative issue if we work on it, for sure. Meaning, it is something that each individual can work on. For the most part, and there's common treatments for it, and we're familiar with a lot of them. So a lot of the cognitive behavioral therapy, that was it, CBT, excuse me, that's where you just go to a therapist and you talk about stuff, and that's super helpful, right? Getting it all out in the open.
And then solving the problem.
Exactly, yeah. And then you take drugs, right? Or you can do holistic stuff, which is awesome, meditation and yoga and going for a run, and that helps with anxieties, right? But the social part of the anxiety is still very specific. It's dealing with people, one-on-one, or in a big group or whatever. And that's often why certain antidepressants may be prescribed by a doctor. SSRIs are a lot of is a classification of a drug that people often hear about. like Prozac, Lexazolof, those types of drugs. And then you have beta blockers, right? And beta blockers are typically... Yeah, and those are more designed to, like, I think, be secondary, where they block the adrenaline rush that creates the symptoms of anxiety, like sweating and like shaking and like, you know, like redness and like hot and all that stuff. It stops the adrenaline from spiking, so like then you don't have that, right? So there's different things. Like the SSRIs, they get more to the root of it by we'll talk about this in a second, by actually binding to the receptor site in your body that reduces anxiety.
Yeah.
Whereas a beta blocker tends to just like shut off the adrenaline. Right, so you'll still get like the underlying root of being anxious about something, but then all the symptoms just won't happen with a beta blocker. However, these are all like, you know, synthetic ways to deal with this problem, and that's not always what we're trying to do with ourselves, right? I mean, sometimes there's a time and place for drugs, absolutely, right? When you get to that point where you absolutely need that, but if we can talk about effective ways before we get to that point that may work, i.e., cannabis, right?
Yeah,
that's what we want to try and do. And so, you know, the social anxiety is just that chronic mental health condition in which social interactions, they just cause like that irrational anxiety, and about 10 million people in the country are affected by it. It's a lot.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah. So, the big thing about social anxiety I want to go over too is just the fear. Like fear is just one of those things that drives a lot of people towards certain actions, right? And it could be good or bad, right? Sometimes you have fear and like you have like a hero that like emerges from whatever the situation is, right?
Yeah.
And then you'll have fear, and then like it creates, you know, a lot of other issues, right? And that's what we look at really with social anxieties are, you know, the fears of judgment, right?
Yep.
When you're working with people, the fear of being in situations where you may be noticed or judged or scrutinized. And so these have different causes. Right. So like these fears that you have that create social anxieties, which become a disorder called social anxiety disorder down the line, can be from different types of things. So like a trigger event is one thing. So like, let's just say like, you know, we all have trigger events in our lives. So let's just say like, I don't know, like you're in like grade school and like you're like up in the front of the class and like you're reading something, and like, let's just say like you mispronounce a word, and like some of the mean kids in the class start laughing at you.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like you get older, and then you get really scared to like read in front of people, because what if you mispronounce a word and somebody laughs at you? You may not even like remember that event, or that event is so fearful for you that actually most likely most people I'd say do remember events like that.
Yeah.
Because fear just like imprints like in your mind. It's crazy. And then that fear just drives you away from certain things. So that person who may naturally, like, for example, maybe a very good speaker, may never actually become what they really could become because they have the anxiety of not wanting to get up in front of people.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So the people that can do these great things or have these capabilities just don't do them because they're afraid.
Yeah, they pack up their potential and they don't use it. Right.
Sad.
And so that is what the issue with social anxiety is that we all have potential that often is going to be showcased in front of a group of people, right? But we kind of, you know, we kind of clam up is what happens, you know, when you get fearful and you get scared.
Yeah.
So, you know, the fear factor is big. The triggers, you know, like that may have happened in the past, and then that, you know, continue to happen. That trigger, you know, just kind of snowballs. So at one point you had one trigger, like for that one example that I'm referring to.
Right.
But then, you know, as you get old, like as you know, as you get older, but as also time goes on, it's not just, you know, maybe reading in front of people. Now it's all of a sudden just speaking in front of people,
right.
Like, because you know that you associate, you know, speaking in front of people with that feeling again. So it's an ongoing thing that just snowballs. So we want to stop that cycle is what we're trying to do when we work on social anxiety disorders. Right. So how cannabis kind of works now. Oh, and the other thing too is sometimes it's just your brain structure, right? Your amygdala too is where the part of the brain where your fear control is, and so if that's like overactivated for whatever reason, if you have some kind of hormonal imbalance or whatnot, that can also be a reason why you have excessive fear, which can create excessive social anxieties and phobias. So that's just something that, you know, we want to look at as well, because that could be an obvious cause. But the way this actually works. and the way cannabis can actually help, because it can, is really, last time we talked about the THC and how THC is helpful with headaches. Right. So, and that's typically not something we see often. Usually it's CBD to the rescue when we're talking about medical applications. However, we're back to the CBD again because CBD just has great anti-anxiety properties, right?
CBD.
Yeah, CBD. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and the way that works is when you're working to address like anxiety, social anxiety, when you take antidepressants, what those are doing is actually acting on a receptor site from the GABA neurotransmitter. So this is where we get a little technical here. I don't want to get too technical. GABA. And I'm also not but I understand a little bit of this. Now, GABA is cool. Have you ever had GABA?
No, it sounds great.
Wait, GABA?
Oh,
yeah.
Man. Mm-hmm. No. Wait, agave, it's like...
I don't know what that is.
Oh, man.
but the GABA, GABA, so GABA neurotransmitter is, it's like a powder you can take or like a pill.
Yeah.
And it's basically, it's like really relaxing. Like I used to take it like before bed, and then I don't know, it's a really strange feeling that you get in your body where your body kind of gets like that lactic acid feeling for a second, and then you just get a release.
Oh, wow.
After a workout, you have that body release or a really good yoga session.
Highs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then you just pass out or so. It's really relaxing. It's strange. It's a different type of feeling.
Muy bueno.
Yeah, really good. But your body has this, right? Muy bueno. Your body has this GABA neurotransmitter.
GABA.
You like that word?
I like it.
Yeah, and so it has this neurotransmitter, but then the receptor sites that it plugs into, when it plugs into those receptor sites, right?
Yeah.
That's when your anxiety is reduced when it plugs in. Now, what happens though, however, is that sometimes you don't have enough of that GABA neurotransmitter. Your body's deficient of it. Mm-hmm. So what your body typically can do is produce its own endocannabinoids. Well, before that, let's talk about this. What happens often is that your doctor will prescribe the antidepressant, which runs into the system and plugs into that neurotransmitter receptor site.
Right.
And that's how you can supplement lowering your anxiety with prescribed drugs, right? Now, what your body does is it creates its own endocannabinoids that are supposed to go assist with that process.
Right.
However, sometimes we don't have enough of that. And so that's when we supplement with CBD. Right.
Yeah.
And that's why we talk about that. Because what CBD can do is when you don't have enough of the GABA neurotransmitter plugging into the receptor site, which is lowering and reducing your anxiety, you can supplement that with CBD, which will do the same thing. Yeah. So that's why CBD works so well with anxieties, and especially social anxieties. Because that is the process, that's the mechanism in which, that whole anti-anxiety thing, actually works, when the CBD actually binds to that receptor site. The other thing too about CBD, I'd say over THC, and we'll attach some notes because there's that mechanism right there. I'm definitely going to attach the research to that, just because if anyone wants to dig in a little bit more on that, it's going to be better than just listening to my bird's eye surface on that, bird's eye view on that. But Michael Bax also talks a little bit about in the Cannabis Pharmacy, which we also reference often, is the biphasic properties of THC, which when you have lower amounts of THC, that can be really helpful for social anxiety situations. But we all know that the paranoia-inducing cannabinoid in cannabis is THC, right? If you have too much of it and not enough of the CBD to kind of counteract that. So we want to make sure a small amount of THC is good. Large amounts of CBD are typically fine for social anxieties. Yeah. I can tell you that from my personal experience, I think CBD works wonders for anxiety. Yeah. Like even now, even though I've been pretty comfortable with this for a while, if I do if I'm going to a social situation and if I do too much THC, I just start feeling off and buzzy and wired, and I don't want to interact. Yeah. So it's that's the total opposite of what you're trying to do.
Yeah, that brings up a really good point. I think a lot of people are a little iffy about taking cannabis for social anxiety.
Yeah, you're right.
Some people they feel like it makes it worse, it intensifies the effects they get from social anxiety.
Yes.
So and I think a lot of reasons why is just people are hitting joints, people are smoking bowls. They don't know what what flower they're taking. They don't know the strand. They don't know any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think people and the amount they're taking, who knows how much THC is in that?
Yeah.
Like that's, too much THC is not a good thing for, the social anxiety aspect. You got to get that
THC
CBD.
is not good for the social anxiety.
Yeah.
Right?
So So yeah, I think that's what it is though. A lot of people like I'll recommend maybe CBD, like some cannabis CBD, and they'll go, "Oh no, I'm not touching any marijuana when I'm out. That's going to make me even worse."
Yeah. I know people that have stopped. They used to smoke for years and they stopped because of anxiety.
Exactly.
And don't get me wrong, the anxiety can absolutely be induced by cannabis if you, like you just said, have the wrong strain. And so in the past, like we've talked about on the show several times, the way that the plant used to be cultivated was a lot different than the way it is today. Yeah. So like, or the way it's going, I guess, back to that. But for a while when it was very, very illegal across the United States and the world, we only had very high THC strains. Yeah. And so like people wanted to get a bang for their buck. If they're going to use something and go get something illegal and risk all that and pay a lot of money for it, they want to make sure they're going to get high. Yeah. Right? But, that took all the medical properties out of it. And that created people went quote unquote crazy, but all they were doing was just getting like too paranoid. Right. Just, and then they just woke up the next day normal. But that's a big reason, absolutely, Jack, why people have hesitations to use cannabis for anxiety. And that's why if you do, and I think also in Cannabis Pharmacy I was reading as well, he recommends a 10-to-1 ratio there of high CBD. So that's something also that that we want to look at is higher CBD ratios. Yeah. Just so you don't even have to deal with any of the THC induced paranoia. Yeah. So it's really it's I think it's important because like again, anxiety is like that top part, like controlling your anxiety is that top part of that like health pyramid that I always talk about with like making sure that everything else stays in line, right? You have your
health pyramid.
Yeah, you have your anxiety, you have your sleep, you have your
nutrition pyramid. Just kidding.
Right.
They found out that's like bogus. That's why you don't see it anymore.
Right. Yeah, of course
completely
not.
bogus.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Nutrition
I
pyramid.
mean, yeah, I think one time I was in like grade school and I saw like pizza in the pyramid.
My mom told me it's like for you. It's got all the things in the pyramid.
It's like a whole grain or something like that.
You sure, Mom?
There's some stuff in there. Obviously, it's all right. I guess, right? Yeah, but like anxiety, man, it's just like that. Like if you can control that highest level, everything in your life falls into place. So social anxiety is big because like you got to function in the world.
You do.
And if that highest piece, that anxiety piece, is just not there, like that's it affects a lot of things. Like your stress levels will be a lot higher, so your cortisol is going to be higher, but cannabis will help with that and lowering the cortisol levels. Mm-hmm. Insomnia, like you're not going to be able to sleep if, like, let's say you have a big speech you have to make the next morning, right? Or not even a speech. Let's just say you're going to be in a situation like, like you have a meeting or something, and you're just going to be in a room of people, and then you just don't want to be like singled out or something like that, right? Right. So like that could be, creating a situation where you're not able to sleep, and so cannabis may be able to help with that. Because then if you wake up and you're tired the next day, you're not going to be able to perform even if you are nervous. So, and then just anxieties, just the general anxiety factor that adds from the social anxiety factor. Like like you said, being in the train, right, with a lot of people, like that's like, that's feeding from, the smaller things, smaller parts of anxieties that we go through. So, I think as far as like the dosage goes, we kind of went over that. Like I would say like higher CBD, definitely higher CBD ratio and like small, like small THC amount.
Exactly.
And then strains. Did you have any strains?
Yeah.
You said you had some strains you want to go over too, because there's definitely a few that I would recommend as well. Yeah. What are you thinking?
All right, guys. So there are some strains, and just like Ryan is saying, it's got to be higher CBD. So the ones that are Harlequin, it's got a high CBD content amount, and it's a good candidate for anxiety, and it helps you be super productive. You could still have the energy and the boost that you get from that one.
Yeah, that one's like got a little sativa property. It's cool. Yeah.
Yep. There's also Blue Dream. So Blue Dream is the big hybrid and offers the energizing efficiency of a sativa with extreme body relaxation and assists with social anxiety relief. So
yeah,
Blue Dream
that
is
one's great.
Yeah, it's like a
That's a good party one.
Yeah.
Like Blue Dream's awesome to take to a party. Like because everybody loves Blue Dream.
You'll be a social butterfly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, when I was back in the day, like in my 20s, oh man, Blue Dream, that was my favorite social butterfly.
It's a nice one, yeah.
Before the bars. Oh, Blue Dream, it was I love it.
It's an awesome one.
Yep. Another big one is Cannatonic. This is a CBD-rich strain, and it often features CBD to THC ratio of 1:1, providing benefits beyond those of only THC, and a good example of the entourage effect. Yeah. So it's like these are ones. This one's got a big CBD, a lot of CBD in this one. Definitely recommend Cannatonic here. Cannatonic's
good, man. That one actually is a good medical one for a lot of the body stuff too, but like fantastic for anxiety.
Yeah, so
I use that a lot actually during.
Do you?
Well, no, I did. When we were having our second child.
Oh, wow.
I was loading up on some Cannatonic.
That's awesome, man.
Because I needed to be fully aware, but I was like so nervous at the same time,
Yeah.
you know. So like it was really helpful. But yeah, man, that was a great one. Yeah, for sure.
The other one was Jack Herr.
Oh yeah,
this one's
my
different.
guy.
Yeah, it's my favorite now. I love this one. But this one makes you happy. Jack Herr is always like it's a happy, uplifting, strain. Now here's the thing though. This one's known to be more THC.
Yeah.
But the trick with Jack Herr is you don't smoke as much. Just take a little bit than you would a normal high CBD strain. You want to stick with a little bit of Jack Herr. Because it's got that sativa effect, it's uplifting and everything.
It's got that terpinolene too, right?
Ooh, that terpinolene, yeah.
Yeah. That's
so
good.
You just want to be real careful with this one. But man, Jack Herr is great.
Yeah. No, that's I love Jack, man.
Yeah.
That one's like my go-to for like productivity, but
Yes.
also like social productivity. It's just I don't know. Like you know what, everyone's different. What they're gonna prefer.
Right.
So everything that we're providing here is just like kind of a launch pad,
Yeah.
right? Like just try this, try that. But your body, your endocannabinoid system, which everyone has, is gonna be different than mine and Jack's and everybody else.
Yeah.
So experimentation is key, but if you want to do it the safe way, you don't want to do it the way that we used to always do it, which is just like jumping off the cliff blindfolded, right? Which is what it felt like.
Yeah, it's like you're taking like it's almost like you're going to like a party or something, and someone's passing out like pills from like an orange container with no label.
Yeah, right. You wouldn't take that.
You're just getting a random.
Right.
Exactly. Never know. But I get it. Like people hand you a joint. You like it's like someone saying,
Yeah.
"Hi, here, be my this is
That's true.
friendship." Socially, that's a tough one because it's like they're passing you a joint, and it's like I don't know what's in that. So I think the best way to handle that, because I feel like sometimes like that's when people do cannabis is in social situations. So in those social situations, I think it's good if it's like a relaxed party with people that something small, a small gathering, and it's your friends you trust and know, and you're in a comfortable place. I think then it's okay to smoke whatever joint your friend in.
Of course.
But then if you're like doing like,
Trust
but
your
if
friends.
it's a big, you're out and about, and there's like a million things you got to get home. There's like a lot of things you got. That's a situation you might want to not take the random
you're
joint
right.
from somebody.
Exactly. Yeah, you just trust your judgment as always, and like I always just trust where I get my stuff, and like I only get it from like real source, like legal sources, right? So it's like, it's and so I know my stuff's good, and so like that you're absolutely right, man. Because if you have the wrong thing, or if you don't know, like that creates anxiety. Like that for me creates anxiety.
Yes.
Like if I go to a party and if I don't know what I'm smoking, and like if someone gives me something, and I know it's like okay, and I trust or whatever, but like I still may be hesitant to even try it because like. I don't know what I'm gonna be like afterwards, depending on what terpenes
this is
are in
that
it.
catatonic fire blast.
Well, catatonic is fine,
or not,
right? We know that.
I'm trying to tell them like, this is
you need like
the
25 syllables to do it.
The
like,
fire
your
gold strain, like you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
They'll just throw all these really crazy words. And like,
Exactly. Well. Anyways, so try any of those strains. I wouldn't say the 15-syllable one that we were just talking about.
Yeah,
in there. That one's too crazy. However, I would say that. I would say any of those other ones that we talked about. I actually like CBD Critical Cure too. I want to throw that one in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen. I think anything you can get your hands on with higher CBD amounts are going to help you. And nothing's going to like knock you out or anything like that for the most part because the CBD amount will be a little bit higher.
Right.
But it's just I would really say that the looking at something like like a CBD Critical Cure is just amazing. Like when you look, something like a higher CBD amount. And the reason why I like that one is just I think it's the terpenes there. It's more indica leaning, and there's just something about like that like roughly 2-to-1 ratio where it's just very I don't know, very relaxing, man. Yeah. Very uplifting, happy, like talkative, all that good stuff. So I like it.
Do you know what the other thing I was thinking here? We're talking about someone passing you some random like strain of marijuana.
Yeah.
Remember those commercials like back in the day when they have so many of those old public service announcement commercials like your brain and drugs, the eggs and all that.
Yeah.
You remember I was watching them the other day, and there was the one where the girl, there's two girls, and one of them is just like, she looked like she got run over by a steamroller. Like she's just flat, and she's like lying on the couch.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yes.
They're like getting interviewed, and
the
friend's like, yeah, this is all we do now. And
that's all we do is just watch her sit like a blob.
She's just sitting there. Like,
I can just recount so many cannabis sessions where I never even resemble that.
Yeah, it's like if I smoke cannabis,
I don't know what they're talking about.
I'm gonna look like I get run over by a steamroller. Steamrollers could run through.
Yeah,
like
that's Bubba Kush, man.
Through.
In my opinion, right? That's how I feel after Bubba Kush. I say Bubba because Bubba Kush knocks me out. Like, yeah, that's like, of
crazy
course.
stuff.
Yeah, Bubba Kush, great vape, one of those things.
Right.
But no, I don't think you'll feel like that. I mean, you can feel like that if you want to. I mean, it's totally up to you. But what we try and do is stay productive because we still want to live life and do the best that we can and optimize, at every point. Whoa. Hey, look at that. We're coming in hot with that one. Sorry, that is our outro, ladies and gentlemen. So we want to thank you again for coming on another episode of the Cannabis Connoisseur podcast. We got to thank Midtown Manhattan Gotham Podcast Studios as well.
Studios, check it out.
Yep.
Great place to record your podcast.
Absolutely. Beautiful spot here. And so I want to thank you all for on another episode. Go ahead and make sure you check us out on the social media, the Cannabis C, right?
Yep.
Jack? And then you can also email us at thecannabisc@gmail.com as well. We also have that going for any questions about anything that you have.
Yeah.
But we want to thank...
Suggestions would be appreciated, guys. And comment. Yes. Rate, review, comment on iTunes.
And share.
Yeah, share
for people that you think
please.
This may be helpful for, send this over to them so they can get, hopefully this will be useful for them and they can get assistance with it.
Yeah.
So. Well, thank you, everybody. Hope you have a great week, and we will see you next week on another awesome episode of the Cannabis Connoisseur Podcast.
See you, everybody.
Such a sight, but time will waste me if I don't stop wasting time. Let's ring out loud. It's all we know has been turned upside down. Yeah, everything is possible now. Yeah, everything is possible now. Yeah, everything is possible now. There we go.
Yeah.